I mentioned in my last video that this Mount Rushmore area is like the Wisconsin Dells of South Dakota. We've got grapes and grinds, there's a mini golf course over there, there's a whole strip of different activities and things you can do, a hotel, even Rushmore Tramway Adventures. Look at that. Everywhere you look around here, it's just something cool to see. I'm definitely going to have to be back here again because there is a lot of different things that we can be doing here today. Well, hello there, and welcome to another beautiful day for an adventure. We are in South Dakota, right near Mount Rushmore, and behind me, this building right here is the Presidential Wax Museum. We have never been to a wax museum here on Tommy Travels, so it's time we take a look. And there's one right here, so we're going to check it out. I'm sure there's going to be a lot of presidents, and they're probably all going to be made of wax. But this should be fun. Welcome to another edition of Tommy Travels. It's Tommy Travels. You guys, if you're brand new to this channel, go ahead and hit subscribe so you don't miss out on a thing. Come on with me, let's go see what there is to see. I really like the architecture of this building with the log cabin effect on the outside, the flowers that they have. This is really well done, very well put together. And then of course on the outside of the building, as would be appropriate, the presidential seal. I was just noticing this huge building up on the top of that mountain over there. Look at how big that is. I can't believe that would be somebody's house. It must be a resort or something. I don't know what it is, but my goodness, it's impressive to look at. If you're from around the area or you've been there or know about that place, leave a comment below. And the first attraction here shows Barack Obama in the White House briefing room. And we have a recreation of that right here, with the lectern, the flags, presidential seal, the whole 9 yards. So if you wanted to, you could get up here and hold a press conference. And so before we look at any actual wax sculptures, I thought we'd show how they're actually put together. Only the head and hands are really made of wax, and the rest is a fiberglass body. And they use a live model to construct the mold of the body, and then an artist carefully constructs the head and the hair and the hands, and they use all sorts of different poses and things like that to get the most natural look that they possibly can. And so starting with our current president, we have Trump exiting his airplane. That must be back during his campaign days, before he was actually president. And this is probably the best sculpture I've ever seen. Probably the best in the universe. That's what everybody's telling me. Then of course, our previous president, Barack Obama, pitching some healthcare.gov. It looks like running on a campaign of hope and change. Can't really impersonate Barack Obama very well. I can't impersonate Trump very well either. But, you know, I give it the old college try. Oh, look at this scene that we have here. We have George Washington and Martha admiring the design of the flag sewn by Betsy Ross. Though it has changed many times to keep pace with a growing nation, the American flag retains the same basic design and symbolism to this day. And this scene depicts the 5 original drafters of the Declaration of Independence. Of course, we can all recognize this guy, Ben Franklin. Got Thomas Jefferson, John Adams over there. And then that is Robert Livingston and Roger Sherman. Those are some smart fellas, and there they are, writing it down. This scene depicts a White House reception, and it is like a who's who of presidents in here. That's John Quincy Adams. This is Martin Van Buren right in front of us. That's Mrs. John Quincy Adams, James Monroe, Dolly Madison, James Madison. Wow. This is Henry Clay, and he is delivering some punch to Mrs. John Quincy Adams, but what I'm noticing is that fine detail in his hands. It looks like a real hand. That is very well done, very intricate. And here we have a collection of unelected presidents, starting with Millard Fillmore, Andrew Johnson, Chester Alan Arthur, John Tyler, and of course, there he is, Gerald Ford. Whenever I think of Gerald Ford, I always think of Dana Carvey's impression of Tom Brokaw, where he says, former President Gerald Ford was eaten by a pack of wolves. And is it just me, or does John Tyler look a little bit like Data from Star Trek? At first I thought this was a picture, but it's not. There's actually a wax figure in there, and it's William Henry Harrison, our 9th president. This scene depicts the very famous Lincoln-Douglas debate. In this debate, Stephen Douglas said, "It's none of our business whether slavery exists in Missouri." And in this actual debate, this pre-bearded Abraham Lincoln said, "A house divided against itself cannot stand." And some years after the Lincoln-Douglas debate, this scene happened. This is a grave General Grant accepting surrender of the Confederate forces from General Robert E. Lee at Appomattox Courthouse in Virginia on April 9, 1865. So says the sign. And when the Union troops outside began to cheer, General Grant stopped them, saying, "The war is over. The rebels are our countrymen again." Very diplomatic. Depicted here are Sioux Indian chiefs, Gall, Crazy Horse, Rain in the Face, and Sitting Bull. And they are holding a council of war to meet Colonel Custer's Long Knives at the Battle of Little Bighorn. So this is Alexander Graham Bell, and he is showing off his invention of the telephone to President Rutherford B. Hayes. And he's a busy guy today because he also has Thomas Edison showing off his phonograph. Wow. Modern technology, huh? And this is President Grover Cleveland, and he's marrying Frances Folsom in the Blue Room of the White House. And he was the first president to be married in office. She's 22 and he is 49. And then there's this guy, Theodore Roosevelt. He said, "Speak softly and carry a big stick, and you will go far." I think he's also famous for saying, "Bully." He was a great outdoorsman. He loved the outdoors and hunting and wildlife and wild game. And he was also the inspiration for the teddy bear. And here is President Taft. He's the only one to have been president and also Chief Justice of the Supreme Court. And of course the famous meeting between Ronald Reagan and Mikhail Gorbachev. This was obviously their meeting in Moscow in 1988. And I don't know, I'm looking at this Reagan. I'm not sure if that's as well done as some of the other ones I've seen in this museum. Gorbachev, he looks okay, but I don't know. I don't know if that's their best effort on that one. And this is Calvin Coolidge. This is on August 10th, 1927. He's on vacation in South Dakota, And President Coolidge on this day dedicates Mount Rushmore a national memorial. See how these adventures are tying together? The last one and this one. I wonder if that's a coincidence. I doubt it. And then of course there's Dwight D. Eisenhower. He was a popular Kansas farm boy, West Point cadet, and commander of the Allied forces during World War II. 2 terms in office led General Eisenhower to conclude that the presidency is the loneliest job in the nation. And then of course there's JFK. That's a very nice rendering of him as well. That one is better, much better than the Reagan one. That looks very much like him. And this is his famous desk where John was hiding underneath there. It's one of the most popular presidents of recent times, and he was the very youngest president to be elected. And this is a very somber moment right here as a stunned Jackie Kennedy stands next to Lyndon B. Johnson as he gets sworn in hours after the assassination of John F. Kennedy. And you can really see the pain in her eyes. Very sad. And then there's Richard Nixon during one of the good moments of his presidency, when he got to welcome back these guys to the USS Hornet aircraft carrier. That is Neil Armstrong, Michael Collins, and Buzz Aldrin Jr. They were just walking on the moon. And then we have Jimmy Carter, and the one I've been waiting for. Not gonna do it. Wouldn't be prudent at this juncture. 1,000 points of light, world ever turning. It's George Herbert Walker Bush, ladies and gentlemen. And who can forget this debacle between Al Gore and George W. With hanging chads right in the middle. Oh my gosh. That was a very divisive time in our country, that is for sure. Well, I think we all certainly remember this scene. After 9/11, when George W. Bush came down to the wreckage, met with the firefighters, and there it is on TV as well, showing the clip of him talking to everyone on the megaphone. I'll never forget that day. And last but not least, hey there. Welcome to the Oval Office. Here I am. I got a bust of Lincoln right there. JFK. I even got a picture of Hillary over there on my desk. This is a very nice little office. Thank you for stopping in to Tommy Travels today. Much appreciated. Hit subscribe. Well, thank you guys so much for hanging out with me today. That was another successful adventure here at the Presidential Wax Museum in South Dakota. This has been just really fun seeing all that history inside of that building. It was kind of like having a brush with fame several times over. And if you guys liked what you saw here today, go ahead and hit like on my YouTube channel. While you're at it, go ahead and hit subscribe and the little bell notification next to it so you can be the first to know when a new adventure comes out. Thank you guys so much for the support that you've given me so far, and until next time, I hope to catch you on the flip side.